Good afternoon, everyone. Carolina Weather Authority meteorologist Joshua Nagelberg, and hope you guys are having a wonderful Wednesday. Happy Veterans Day to my fellow veterans, especially for the 53rd Weather Reserve Squadron at Keesler Air Force Base in Biloxi, where the Hurricane Hunters fly out of. You guys have had yourselves the busiest year ever, and I really thank you guys for all that you're doing. In fact, I got to serve with one of the meteorologists, Chris, if you're watching. Thank you for all you do. And being away from your family this much, I know, has certainly been a toll on you guys. But because of the work that you guys are doing, we are getting much more accurate weather data and better forecasts. And this year we've needed them for sure. Now, not every forecast has been perfectly beautiful, as I'm going to talk about with Eta here. Yeah, we're going to go into that more here. We'll talk about Eta, and then the next system, I think, by next weekend will be Iota. We'll talk about that as well. And let's take a look at the map, or the numbered storms. 29, we'll probably get to 30 here pretty soon. These are the Greek letters, by the way. We're already a third of the way through them. I think we'll be talking about Iota here pretty soon. And excuse me, I got a little bit of a sinus thing that I'm going through, so apologize for any cracking in the voice. I may chug a chug of water here, but I'll try to keep this pretty short for you guys. This is what we're looking at here down the road. I will talk about Eta, of course, but I did want to show you Iota. Very likely to form here, according to everything that I'm looking at, in about 3 to 5 days. And this could follow a path very similar to Eta into Central America, which, of course, is very worst case scenario, but certainly something that we're concerned with. It is uncertain as we get farther off into the crystal ball here after 8 days, but we'll watch to see where high pressure forms in the southern states, because that could leave an opening for something to come farther north, like we saw with Eta, but much too soon to say if that even happens. And, oh, by the way, there could be a system that could follow it, maybe a weaker system, around November 20th, around for Thanksgiving week. So, gives me a headache just thinking about it for sure. But if you saw my video from the 17th of October, it should not be any surprise to you. We're expecting a few storms here, but it's actually been more than I expected. So we're looking at a record for the number of total storms in the tropics in November. And history can repeat itself for Guatemala and Honduras. This would be kind of unprecedented, but certainly it can happen. In the Philippines, we're seeing that ongoing, where places that were devastated by a Category 5 super typhoon are now under the gun once again for a weaker typhoon. Also, did want to talk about Eta, because the original track was pretty well forecast, and then things changed quite a bit in here over the last couple of days, where there was some drifting, and models were trying to split this off and bring it up toward the central Gulf Coast states. So I actually bid up on that, and really wish I hadn't, but at the time, that's what the models were suggesting. But a plane got in there and saw that the storm was forming on its thunderstorms on the eastern side, hugged a lot closer to the coast of Florida. Now it's coming right in here, and actually in this zone in here, just north of Tampa Bay and Clearwater. So, yeah, I messed up that one, but I think the models didn't help and do us any favors. So, welcome to hurricane season 2020. All right, so here's the map. This is Eta right here. This is a front approaching it. That'll pick it up and turn it northeast. There's actually a little bit of an upper low spawning showers and storms in the Carolinas and Georgia right now. This is Theta, which formed from a front, and it's nothing to really worry about at this point. Strong tropical storm, but weakening. And then here we have what I think will end up being Iota down the road. There is a bit of a circulation here. It's going to get down into here into a more favorable spot. Right now it's got northerly shear on top of it, but once it gets past that, should develop when it gets into here by the weekend. And then this wave, some models develop into Kappa, and we've got another wave out here, but these two don't look, at this point, like anything we need to be too worried about just yet. Here's Eta, and you can see it actually was a hurricane earlier today, now back down to tropical storm. The reason being wind shear's picked up and dry air has gotten into it. All the thunderstorms are here aloft, and the low-level center is still displaced to the west. And for a hurricane to really intensify, it needs to have its thunderstorms on top of its center. And Eta does not have that. So all the weather is now coming into west central Florida and southwest Florida right now, even though the storm's not going to make landfall till morning up in here, it looks like. Water vapor loop shows that dry air wrapping in. It also shows the shear coming in from the eastern side and around this trough here. And here's our next system, which should be in a good spot where it's got moisture to deal with and low wind shear in the southwest Caribbean. Here's a look at, I'm going to grab a drink here real quick, but this is aircraft. And it's flown in and seen that the winds have come down. On the eastern side of the storm, they were in the purples earlier, which was near hurricane force. Now they're in the reds. So the storm is weakening and the pressure has been rising up to about 990 millibars. And the center is now about here. So it's moving north-northeast, should make more of a bend to the right. Question mark is that going to be near Clearwater or north of Clearwater? Right now I think it'll be just north. You can see on the radar here is the eye, and it's exposed on the west and southwest. That's the dry air getting in there. But the worst wind is out in here, but we also have bands of heavy showers and storms. A tornado watch in effect, and we actually have some severe thunderstorm warnings down over the Everglades to the southeast of Naples and Everglades City, making their way kind of over the swampy areas here, South Florida. So we could see more bands of very heavy rain and maybe some embedded severe wind and tornadoes anywhere here across the peninsula of Florida, but mainly the western portion right in here. So that's what we're going to be watching. The storm center should be heading in this direction and then probably making a right turn, and could make a more significant turn in this direction or could be a little bit farther up here. There's still some uncertainty, but anywhere on this coast from Tampa Bay on north towards the Steinhatchee River needs to be watching for landfall. All right, so here is the track of Eta, and you can see it's going to weaken pretty quickly, and it's already peaked in intensity down to 70 miles per hour, maybe even weaker than that. Should be a depression by tomorrow afternoon over northeast Florida, then heading out to sea by the weekend. You can see that on the model guidance here. Oh, by the way, this is what the models looked like a day ago. Well, I guess I lost it. All right, no worries, but definitely we're not showing that. They were showing more solutions out in here. This is the wind shear map, and you can see we're moving out of the green and into the yellow and eventually red. So the wind shear, of course, is harming Eta and causing it to weaken. We do see more favorable low wind shear in the western Caribbean. As this disturbance, which is sheared right now, comes down into here, it's going to be in a spot where it can very much develop. You can look at the upper level pattern and see there's high pressure aloft in here as well as in here. Big high just offshore, and that's why it's so darn warm and humid out there across the mid-Atlantic states today. But the wind shear picking up in here, so this should be a tropical storm icon. It hasn't been updated yet. It's going to get to a spot where it's getting wind sheared, and then these westerlies take over and kick it out to sea pretty quickly. Here's Theta, and it's quickly moving off to the northeast. And then our next disturbance in here has some northerly shear to deal with for a couple of days, and then it'll have a better chance to develop once it gets over in this direction. I was going to show you the total rain over the southeast. A lot of it, 3 to 6 inches in west central and southwest Florida, 3 to 6 as well in the eastern Carolinas, maybe even 7 around Wilmington, 3 to 6 in the Piedmont, 1 to 3 across the Midlands and in eastern Georgia. It's going to be wet tomorrow at the Masters, but then it should dry out as we head towards the weekend. So there is a light at the end of the tunnel, folks. Here's a look at the next system. Iota likely to form between Jamaica and Panama, and the European models are taking it westward, at least the ensembles are taking it west towards Central America. I will show you real quick the GFS. Here it takes Eta and weakens it very quickly, moves towards the northern Gulf Coast of the peninsula of Florida, and then weakens it down to tropical depression strength tomorrow afternoon. And then that's off of the Carolina coast and moving away by Friday. It's already dry by Friday afternoon, so that's some good news there. And then a big high builds down, so it should be much better next week here in the southeast. Here's our next system, and notice the GFS takes it very close to where Eta came as a hurricane, and then weakens it, moves it over Central America, and then develops Kappa right behind it, closer to Jamaica, where we really don't need any more rain. But that system will be likely heading into Central America as well. So that is basically leading up close to Thanksgiving in the United States. Now the GFS parallel, on the other hand, similar agreement on Eta, but look what it does with future Iota. It develops it much farther south and into a powerful hurricane like we saw with Eta. And because it's stronger, it's got a better chance at busting up through the ridge and coming up through Belize and the Yucatan. And by the way, this is Thanksgiving Day. We've got something in the southern Gulf. So when I showed you that graphic before, I left that door open because I still think it's possible. This model does not do anything with the next system behind it, though. I guess that's some good news. And then the European ensembles, well, had this earlier. I guess they haven't loaded just yet. Do show, one of two spots. It either develops here and comes this direction and across Central America, or it develops up here and comes either into the Southwest Gulf or Belize, or one solution takes it up toward Tampa Bay once again. That's an outlier. We'll keep that option open for you guys because I still think that it's possible. So I've got that open. I would say the chance of this happening probably less than 10%. But if you have Thanksgiving plans to be with family in Florida, it's something at least you think you should be watching. Most likely, though, one of these two tracks here In particular, I think this track would be where it would end up going. So we'll have more for you guys in the days to come about that. But I hope you all have a wonderful Wednesday. Stay safe, stay dry, and thanks to all the fellow veterans out there who have served and those who have passed on. Hope you all have a wonderful day. God bless.